It's Wednesday, December 17th. In the headlines, NWC restores water to 85% of customers after Hurricane Melissa. In business news, we have your latest market updates and more. Regionally, U.S. President imposes travel restrictions on Antigua and Barbuda. And in sports, Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association President David Riley appointed to World Athletics Commission. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Danita Rodney. The National Water Commission says water supply has now been restored to 85.6% of customers island-wide following disruptions caused by Hurricane Melissa. Speaking at the National Emergency Operations Center, NWC official Andrew Cannon said more than 472,000 customers are back on service, but nearly 80,000 remain affected, with St. Elizabeth posing the greatest challenge due to impassable roads. To ease the impact, the NWC has stepped up water trucking operations, delivering tens of thousands of gallons to communities in St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. 5-gallon water kegs are also being distributed in the worst-hit areas as restoration efforts continue ahead of the Christmas season. We stay with utilities as the Jamaica Public Service says electricity has been restored to 84% of customers island-wide following Hurricane Melissa. Speaking at a press conference on December 16, Energy Minister Daryl Vaz described the recovery as one of the fastest large-scale post-hurricane restoration efforts Jamaica has seen. He says recent gains include the restoration of power to the Rock River NWC pumping station in Clarendon and the reconnection of communities from Anchovy to Bickersteth in St. James. 97% of major hospitals are now back online, including KPH, Bustamante, and Cornwall Regional. However, the most severe outages remain in Western Jamaica, particularly Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and St. James. The minister says crews and resources are now being concentrated in those hardest hit areas. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is ramping up security and traffic enforcement for the busy Christmas season, deploying rapid response teams, motorcycle patrols, and expanded surveillance across major commercial centers and high-traffic roadways. With Christmas shopping, longer business hours, and increased travel now in full swing, the JCF says public movement continues to rise each year, bringing added security and traffic challenges. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, Assistant Police Commissioner Dr. Gary McKenzie says the strategy includes mobile quick response teams, particularly in congested areas.
We have noted some incidents where persons have been robbed at intersections, and we have had a few issues with persons even being harmed. And so the strategy is to have our quick response teams moving through these heavy traffic areas on motorcycles, conducting surveillance.
He notes that Jamaica Eye will play a critical role in policing strategy with increased use of the surveillance network throughout the season.
It's one of the things that we do a lot, and we will be increasing that for the season, is to utilize our CCTV system. So our Jamaica Eye system, that is one thing that we will be utilizing a lot to observe traffic, look at the trends, to monitor people, and where we see anything at all that is not in keeping with normality, we will dispatch our teams to check and to deal with it.
ACP McKenzie says that the effects of Hurricane Melissa have further intensified traffic volumes, particularly within the Kingston metropolitan area.
We have also noticed at the end of last month, coming into December, is that because of Hurricane Melissa, the Kingston metropolitan region is now inundated with more vehicles. A lot of persons are actually shifting, doing business within the KMR, and so we have to be more vigilant. We also notice that our highways, there are a lot more movements, and so we have to be far more vigilant with what we do.
An agreement with Sagicor Financial Company Limited will see Sagicor Life Incorporated and Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited merge under a single Caribbean holding structure, the Sagicor Group Caribbean. The company made the announcement on Tuesday.
The merger, which remains subject to regulatory and shareholder approval, is expected to close in 2026. Current director and former chief executive officer of Sagicor Financial, Doddridge Miller, will be nominated chairman of the newly created holding company, Sagicor Group Caribbean, and Christopher Zaka will serve as the CEO, while Robert Trestrail will continue as president and CEO of Sagicor Life. Group president and CEO of Sagicor Financial, Andre Musso, said once the transaction is completed, new investors who wish to participate in its growth in the Caribbean on a concentrated basis will be able to buy shares in the new Sagicor Group Caribbean.
Sagicor Financial owns 49%. That company is being combined with Sagicor Life Inc. of the Southern Caribbean, of which Sagicor Financial currently owns 100%. And when the transaction is finished, Sagicor Financial Company, we anticipate, will own approximately 55% of the combined company.
The company assured that there will be no immediate changes to roles, service channels, policies, benefits, or client interactions. According to President and CEO of Sagicor Group Jamaica, Christopher Zaka, this will strengthen the company's competitive position.
The organization would allow technological advances at a much more rapid rate. Our clients will be better served, will be more seamless, and our internal processes will be improved. And that to us will allow us to take larger market share both in Jamaica as well as the rest of the Caribbean.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIC, says the All-Jamaica Consumer Price Index rose by 2.4% in November 2025. Inflation surged sharply in November as the impact of Hurricane Melissa pushed consumer prices to their highest monthly increase in more than a decade. The main driver of the increase was the price of food. The food and non-alcoholic beverages divisions jumped by 6%, led by steep increases in produce. Prices for vegetables, tubers, plantains, and pulses climbed by more than 19%, with tomatoes, pumpkins, sweet pepper, hot peppers, and cucumbers among the hardest hit. Fruit prices also rose sharply, with the fruit and nuts category up 8.8%, reflecting higher prices for papaya, watermelon, and ackee. Ready-made foods and other food products increased by 16.4%, driven mainly by a rise in the price of a skillet. The Financial Services Commission, FSC, says there were 820 pension plans operating across the industry, holding assets valued at $829 billion as at the end of June this year. Pension coverage also increased by 2% to 174,820 workers, representing 12.1% of the employed labor force. During the period, Jamaica's employed labor force stood at 1.4 million, accounting for 96.7% of those seeking or available for work prior to the devastation of Western Jamaica by Hurricane Melissa on October 28. Despite the severe impact of the hurricane on the agricultural sector, which directly employs about 250,000 workers, pension statistics were not negatively affected. The FSC explained that the majority of workers in the sector are not enrolled in approved retirement schemes. For the trading period ending December 16, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 3,516,503 units, representing 28.57% of market sales volume. Sagicor Select Funds Limited Manufacturing and Distribution with 2,710,743 units, representing 22.02% of market sales volume. EduFocal Limited with 812,980 units, representing 6.60% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On December 16, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $85.68 million purchased and US $89.35 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.25 per dollar, selling the US at $160.35 and buying the US at $159.10. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $1.10 per transaction, with selling at $115.71 and buying at $116.81. The British pound yielded Forex traders 71 cents in profits, with selling at $214.72 and buying at $214.01. For our credit report tip of the day, understanding your credit report is one of the most underrated professional advantages you can have at any stage of life. It gives you clarity instead of confusion, helping you catch errors, prevent identity issues, avoid unexpected denials, and see yourself the way lenders do. With that awareness, you can negotiate better terms, reduce interest costs, and make informed decisions around career changes, major purchases, or business opportunities. Most of all, it moves you from guessing to planning and replaces financial anxiety with calm and informed confidence. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Antigua and Barbuda has been added to a new U.S. travel restriction list, with partial entry suspensions set to take effect on January 1, 2026. The move, outlined in a proclamation from President Donald Trump, limits immigrant travel and non-immigrant visas, citing concerns over citizenship by investment programs. Dominica is the only other Caribbean country affected. Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States, Sir Ronald Sangster, calls the decision puzzling and says urgent talks are now underway with U.S. officials.
This information only came to the government of Antigua's attention and to the embassy in Antigua late this evening. In fact, well after 5 o'clock is when this proclamation issued by President Trump was made available. I immediately contacted the State Department and the officers there with whom one would normally communicate over matters, bilateral matters, between the government of Antigua and Barbuda and the United States of America. They had no idea that this proclamation was going to be issued, nor did they know what it contained. They learned about it at the same time that I did. Now, what the proclamation says, and I think you've communicated this in part to your audience, is that Antigua and Barbuda has been, visas have been suspended for entry into the United States, and they are B1, B2, F visas, M visas, and J visas. And the reason that is given is that Antigua and Barbuda has historically had citizenship by investment programs without residency. Now, I find that reasoning very curious because over the last few weeks, in fact, last couple of months, Antigua and Barbuda and all of the countries of the Eastern Caribbean that operate citizenship by investment programs have been in deep consultation with the United States at several levels of the U.S. government, including the State Department, the Treasury Department, the Department of Homeland Security, our Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and bilateral discussions with government officials, including heads of government. So the other curious thing about this, apart from the fact that this engagement has been going on, so this has happened without even any notice, is that only 2 countries have been selected from the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica. There are 3 other countries that operate a CBI program without residency, and they are not mentioned. So it seems to me that there is more to this than just the reasoning that has been given in this proclamation. I have reached people in the White House for some clarification on it. Unfortunately, the ones I've been able to reach are as unclear about it as the ones in the State Department. Everybody understands that I'm anxious to get all the information I can and to start talking with people at a high level. I've made the request to see those people. It's not going to happen before tomorrow morning. But this is on my priority list. And what I have to understand is what beyond the CBI program may be pushing this particular this decision. Now, one other thing I should say, I had lunch today with 2 senior American ambassadors. Neither of the 2 of them knew that this was happening. And the conversation we had was about increased cooperation between Antigua and Barbuda and the United States. So, I mean, this added to my puzzle, my bewilderment about this statement being issued tonight and in this way. So, as I said, I suspect this has more to do, this has to do with other things than with the reason that has been given. And it is in pursuit of that reasoning that I will set myself tomorrow with an understanding of whether this position is one that can be reversed, what needs to be done to reverse it, because I know that the people of Antigua and Barbuda would be very anxious at several levels, the levels of students, because they come into the country on F visas. B1, B2 visas are visas that businessmen use to come into the United States to conduct business. So all of these people will be affected, and we have got to understand what the reasoning is and how best and what action we have to take.
Venezuela on Monday said it has, with immediate effect, terminated any existing contract, agreement, or negotiation with Trinidad and Tobago after accusing Port of Spain of being complicit in the decision of the United States to seize a Venezuela oil tanker last week. In response, the country says it remains unfazed by this decision.
Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Dr. Rudal Munilal, is today dismissing an announcement from the Venezuelan government that it will immediately cancel all deals and negotiations to supply natural gas to Trinidad and Tobago. The response from Venezuela is in retaliation for the recent seizing of an oil tanker by the U.S. military. In a voice note to TTT News, Dr. Munilal said the Venezuelan authorities should direct their complaints to President Donald Trump, as it is the United States military that has seized the sanctioned oil tanker. Minister Munilal said the Trinidad and Tobago government is not bothered by the threat.
In the meanwhile, we continue to have very peaceful and fraternal relations with the people of Venezuela. This statement is just an example of propaganda. We have never depended on Venezuela for natural gas supplies. We have adequate reserves within our territory. We are aggressively working to reduce bureaucratic barriers so that we can speed up approvals and license and so on for the energy companies.
The energy minister said the real issue is the bureaucracy and red tape which has been hindering our exploration and production over the years. He said the release from the Venezuelan government is an act of hypocrisy since they continue to engage with the USA, and it is Chevron that is today exporting heavy crude oil to the refiners in the U.S. Gulf Coast.
Do business in the oil industry with the United States, but then make these reckless and erroneous statements about Trinidad and Tobago. I condemn it. It is propaganda, and we will continue to work with our partners in the region and elsewhere so that we will collaborate and build and rebuild our energy industry.
For our sports report, we are out the blocks with athletics. Jamaica's David Riley has been appointed by the World Athletics Council as a member of the World Athletics Coaches Commission. This was announced by the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association on Monday. Speaking to the media, Riley says his appointment to the WA Coaches Commission is interesting.
It's an interesting assignment. I welcome the appointment as somebody that has been working with coaches in my capacity as president of the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association. Just the transformation that we've been able to accomplish, just setting Jamaica on an interesting path. This is also part of what we want to get done, that Jamaica's voice is at the table when the discussions are being had, so that we can play a part in where the sport goes and some of the changes that are taking place in the sport. So it's important and interesting.
The Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association president will serve as the country's sole representative on the panel for the next 2 years. He adds that for a Jamaican to be on the panel, it could, in the future, improve athletics coaching not only on the local soil, but by extension the Caribbean region.
Well, the Commission is an advisory panel to the Council. We focus on our areas of expertise as coaches. It would be mainly with respect to the issues related to coaches and athletes from a coach's perspective, with the training methods and so on, and also to influence the coaches' education program, which is a big part of the overall effort of World Athletics in putting together the certification program for coaches at the various levels. So in an advisory capacity, certainly would also mean that consultations are had, with our local and regional coaches.
We switch to football. The 2025 edition of the Jewels of the Caribbean football tournament kicked off on Monday at the Housley Crawford Stadium as the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association continues to do its part in showcasing women's football. On the opening night, the Trinidad and Tobago Under-17 women's team met US-based side in the Premier Sports Club. Adrian Lazar has the highlights.
Under the watchful eye of head coach Ayanna Russell, the Trinidad and Tobago Under-17 women's football team lined up to do battle on the opening night of the Jewels of the Caribbean football tournament, hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. Their opponents in the tournament's Under-17 division were Indy Premier Sports Club, coached by Kenrick Ramirez, as the action kicked off at the Hazy Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain. The US-based visitors were the ones to open the scoring when the pacey Adeline Thomas found an unmarked Olivia Jones who buried her shot past goalkeeper Zofia Richards. Indy's Zoe Montgomery thought she doubled the lead soon after, but it was disallowed by the referee's whistle. It was one of those nights for Indy's number 7, who had a goal disallowed for the second time. TNT Zara Chase broke down the right flank and registered a shot on target, but it lacked the necessary power. The game's second goal came in the 35th minute when Skylar Muller curled the ball past Richards. 2-0 Indy heading into half-time. A splendid save by Richards in the second half was in vain when it rebounded in the path of Jones, who scored her second and Indy's third of the game. Thanks to substitute Ashlyn Bazley, the visitors would leave Port of Spain with a 4-0 win over Trinidad and Tobago. Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
Staying with the Jewels of the Caribbean tournament, after capturing the Under-20 title in 2024, returning participants Jamaica set their sights on the Under-17 division. In their opening match, they took on the exciting Secondary Schools Football League Future Stars.
The 2025 Jewels of the Caribbean football tournament presented a promising opportunity to feature an all-star girls team from the Secondary Schools Football League, the SSFL Future Stars, coached by National Coca-Cola Intercol winning coach Brian London. Under-17 division opponents Jamaica didn't make it easy for the home team when Nicolette Prendergrass scored from a free kick to grab the game's first goal. Jamaica's Jamara Jones executed good close control to evade 3 players before a shot crept past goalkeeper Maisha Cox. The SSFL Future Stars got back into the contest when Five Rivers secondary captain Shaquilla Daniels' free kick evaded Jamaican keeper Kayla Kidd on its way into the net. 2-1 the score. A lapse in concentration from defenders Renisha Jack and Akira Charles allowed Raquana Richards to score team's third on the stroke of half-time. After Kidd's rushing clearance ricocheted off Daniel, the number 17 had the goal at her mercy to score team's second. The score now at 3-2. A crucial moment in the game came when Richards was taken out in the box, resulting in a penalty for the visitors. Richards would recover to convert from the spot, restoring her team's 2-goal lead at 4-2. Prendergrass would find more free kick joy when her shot was too hot to handle for Cox as it fell right in front of substitute Elizabeth Miller, who extended the lead to 5-2. 5-2 in favor of the Reggae Girls over the SSFL Future Stars is how the game would end. Tournament action will continue on Thursday at the Sangre Grande Recreation Grounds. Adrian Nazar, TTT Sport.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.